Most kids when they grow up want to be an actor or a songwriter or an author. I've been lucky enough to be all those things at one time or another. But all I ever really wanted to be was a soldier. And my dream came true. I was a soldier. I am a soldier. I am Audie Murphy. But I almost didn't even make it into the army. They said I was too short, underweight, and underage. But after the attack on Pearl Harbor, I had to enlist. My sister signed a paper saying I was born a year earlier than I really was, making me 18, but the Marines still didn't like the look of me, and neither did the paratroopers. The Army finally took me though, and shipped me off to North Africa with the 15th Infantry, and from there to the invasion of Italy. We arrive in Sicily on July 10th, 1943. By the time we get there, the beach is already taken. The battle moved on. We land and advance forward, past the beach, and across an open field. We're crossing a railroad track when a machine gun opens fire on us. 2 of our guys go down before we can take the machine gun out. My first taste of combat and death. The next day, I join a patrol scouting ahead of the company. We flush out 2 Italian officers and they flee on horseback. Without a second thought, I drop to one knee and fire. 1, 2, both officers fall. My first kills. In September, we land near Salerno. The Italians have officially surrendered, but there are still pockets of resistance on the path to Rome. Our orders are to attack some mountains where Germans are hiding near Mignano, where Longo, Tondo, and Hill 193. We take the first 2 without too many issues, but Hill 193, that's a challenge. At dawn, my squad spots a combat patrol of 7 Germans stumbling their way up to us. We have a machine gun of our own now, and wait until the very last second before opening fire. 3 get it in the belly, convincing the other 4 to drop their guns and surrender. One of our guys escorts the prisoners back to headquarters, but the 3 shot soldiers aren't dead yet. It might be the enemy, but they're still human beings, and it isn't just right to leave them out here. Mortars and machine guns blast all around us as we drag the bleeding men to a quarry. Rain falls all night and into the next morning. Dawn is breaking when 2 of the Germans succumb to their wounds. The rain stops, the clouds part, and that afternoon, the 3rd one dies. The next day, we get our orders to move on. The mountains have been taken. Mignano is secured. Mid-November finds us near Naples, where we get 2 hot meals a day and a cot to sleep on. Feels like a luxury hotel. We also start training for, well, what exactly, we don't know. We get amphibious assault training and hear that we're heading to Rome. The waiting around starts to get to us. Some guys fight, some drink, many do their share of both. As for me, I come down with a bout of malaria and spend a week in the hospital sweating it out. Some vacation that turned out to be. January 29th, 1944, and I'm back with my outfit in Anzio after getting over the malaria, but I missed the landing. It was a massacre, and I should have been there with my brothers as they stormed the beach. My CO tells me we're down to 34 men, and that I've been promoted to staff sergeant. I never understood why I was lucky and so many weren't. No time to dwell on it though. I'm sent on a reconnaissance mission, sneaking across tomorrow's battlefield through enemy lines, crawling on my hands and knees, hiding in the plowed fields, and cross the lines and take stock. They're digging in for defensive action, sneaking in 6 tanks, and unloading a lot of supplies. I make it back to the middle of the night and give my report. The longer we wait, the stronger their position will be, so we attack that afternoon. My company is ordered to clear a highway where the Germans are entrenched, and the bullets immediately start to fly. One of our scouts is hit by a 20mm bullet that's meant for armored vehicles, not men, and it blows him to pieces. German shelling cuts us off from the rear. A sniper fires at me and barely misses. I drop for cover in a shallow ditch. An explosion throws me into the air and knocks me out. When I come to, the sniper has stopped. Whether he moved on or was killed, I can't say. Our tanks finally show up and give the Krauts a taste of their own medicine. As they roll forward, a pocket of German soldiers lose their nerve. They scatter and we pick them off as they run, one by one. We get 9 of them, but our little shooting gallery just gave away our spot. A machine gun sends bullets our way and we drop to the ground. The tanks keep advancing, and we're given as good as we get. But right before dusk, we're forced to give up and retreat. For 3 days we keep this up, pushing forward, then retreating, never gaining an inch of ground. I see an old friend lose a leg, another turned into just a torso. Then the rain comes, filling our foxholes ankle deep with water. It's a stalemate. By February, my squad has been moved back up to Anzio. We use a ruined house as a base for sending out patrols. I'm in an upstairs room on the house on March 2nd when I spot a German tank through my binoculars. Then another, and another. I call for artillery, estimating their positions as best I can. We hit one. It screw bails and runs, so I lift my rifle and pick one off while the rest of the tanks retreat. The damaged one remains, but I know the Germans will retrieve it, fix it, and send it right back at us. So that night, I crawl out alone and lob a grenade into it, then get to destroying the treads. It's loud work, and it's not long before I have to run back under a hail of bullets. But it worked. The damaged tank is still there the next morning. For this, I'm awarded the Bronze Star with V device. By May, we've been able to resupply and get reinforcements, and so have the Germans. But if we can break through and reunite with our troops coming from the south, it's all over and Rome is ours. The enemy knows this too, and they're fighting like a cornered animal. Our company's first task is to cut the railroad south of Cisterna. The Germans are dug in along the tracks with machine guns. Crossing the track means sliding down a slope, sprinting over, and clambering up the opposite side. 2 platoons get across, now it's our turn. I wave my men across. Momentum is key, and 4 soldiers make it because they never stop moving. But the 5th makes a mistake. He pauses to get his bearings, just for a second, but it's enough time for the Germans to zero in, and just like that, he's gone. 4 more get across safely, then me. On the other side, the crowds work to separate us, keep us from recombining our forces. One sergeant, I've never seen anything like it. He charges right at them with a submachine gun. He's hit, he falls, and then he gets right back up and continues charging. Twice more he's hit, and twice more he gets up and keeps going. He gets 10 Germans to surrender, and after that he pushed on another 60 yards before they finally stopped him for good. He gained enough ground to take us all forward. As we're marching on the row of houses where the enemy is holed up, our tanks join the fray. They blast the buildings, sending the Germans scattering right into our line of fire. They're retreating now, and we beat them back so far that when we stop to rest, it's by their abandoned foxholes. But soon the artillery is turned on us. Trees explode, shrapnel whizzes by, and we dive in the foxholes for cover. One of my men who's been with me since North Africa tumbles in after. He's been hit, just under his left shoulder blade. It doesn't look too bad, he's barely bleeding, but he can't hold a canteen. I tell him to stay strong and that I'll be back soon. I run to get the medic, but by the time we return, he's already dead. The shelling stops, and we continue our march. Days and nights of marching, only stopping to find cover during the artillery barrages. The worst of it comes during a march up a highway. 5 planes dive at us, strafing and dropping bombs. But these weren't Germans. They were our own guys. Friendly fire. Human error that caused over 100 casualties. The survivors limp the rest of the way to Rome. The country is ours now. The Germans are out of Italy. 61 men, myself included, receive the Combat Infantryman badge. I also receive a bronze oak leaf cluster for my Bronze Star. But there's no time to rest. We've got the Germans on the run. It's time to go to France. August 15th, the yellow beach near Ramatuelle. We're still waiting ashore when the German guns start cracking in the hills. On the beach, one of our guys is ripped apart by a landmine. They're all over the place. Most of us make it across and reach a meadow, with some scattered farmhouses in the distance. Beyond them is a wooded hill with a cannon pillbox. Our objective is to neutralize it. As we advance, automatic fire bursts from the woods. We scramble for cover, around the corner of a farmhouse with 2 others. They're both hit, and the Germans start after me. I roll into a nearby ditch, moving forward along it and keeping low. Around a bend and run smack into 2 Germans. They hesitate, but I don't. I fire, killing both. Further along, I come upon a group of Germans in a foxhole, but there's too many, and I have to retreat back to the farmhouse. We're outgunned and outmanned. One of our light machine gun squads are pinned down, and they refuse to move. I grab the gun myself and drag it back up the ditch. I take the gun into the open field and set up where I can fire uphill while lying flat on my stomach. Anyone who wants a clear shot at me has to pop up from their foxhole. They finally do, and I let them have it. I don't stop firing until there's silence. I go up to investigate. The foxholes are full of dead men. Anyone who moves gets another burst from my gun. An enemy machine gun starts firing, and I run back to the ditch. My best friend Laddie Tipton is there, and I'm glad to see him. He shot 2 himself today, though not before one of them clipped a piece of his ear off. We scramble up a gully and spot the other machine gun in a farmhouse. There's a foxhole just in front of it, and we make a run for it, but the hole is occupied by 2 Germans. We kill them both and duck in just as the machine gun opens up on us. We return fire and lob grenades. The gun goes silent. We wait, unsure if they're dead or just reloaded. Finally, there's a German voice shouting from the farmhouse. A white handkerchief is waving, the sign of surrender. I don't trust it, but for some reason, Laddie does. He climbs up out of the hole, and it's just what they had been waiting for. The machine gun roars to life. Laddie files right on top of me. I'm pinned under my best friend. He doesn't say anything. I feel his breathing slow, and then stop. Something comes over me. I've been shot at, strafed by planes, had bombs dropped on me. But for the first time in this war, or maybe the first time in my life, I feel true rage. I get out from under Laddie and stand up. I throw a grenade at a nearby machine gun pit. It explodes and I run towards them, ready to shoot any survivors. But there's no need. The grenade has done its job. I take the machine gun. It's not as damaged as they are. I start up the hill, searching for the gun crew that killed my best friend. They moved and are training their sights downhill. They probably think that they took care of both of us. They're about to learn how wrong they were. This is for Laddie. I take aim and fire, again and again and again. I keep firing until even the death twitches stop. I take the rest of the hill by storm. 6 dead, 2 wounded, 11 captured. It barely even registers, like a dream. As our boys continue to march forward, I go back to my friend and sit by his side. The fog of war fades, and I bawl like a baby. But I can't spend too long. This war must go on, and I need to keep going. Make it all worth it. Make it mean something. It must have meant something to the brass at least, because they give me the Distinguished Service Cross. It's hard to feel like I deserve it though. And later I gave the cross to Laddie's daughter, the real hero that day. I was just lucky. My luck would soon run out though. September 15th. We're outside of Besançon, and I'm walking to headquarters when enemy mortars start to fall. I hunker down alongside a group of soldiers, a bunch of replacements. Feels like they keep getting younger and younger. We don't even hear the shell that hits us. When I come to, my ears are ringing, and one of the new recruits is killed. And I had just been standing there, feet closer, I would have been too. Instead, I suffer a heel wound that gets me a few days in the hospital and a Purple Heart. January 1945. Winter has settled in, and I've been promoted to 2nd lieutenant. I rejoined my platoon after a bullet from a snapper left me laid up again, this time for a couple months. We're in the Colmar Pocket, 850 square miles of forests, meadows, villages, and German strength. After running into heavy tank and artillery fire, we wait in the woods for reinforcements in the holes that shelling has blown into the frozen earth. A bit of good luck, since the ground is too frozen for us to dig. The next day, we are joined by 3 tanks of our own. We make it to the edge of the woods, and once again, the Germans throw everything they got at us. 2 of our tanks are destroyed by artillery. I see their crews leaping out, each man a ball of flame. The 3rd tank's gun refuses to work, but instead of giving up, it continues forward, putting itself between the burning men and the enemy fire. They stack the bodies on top and return, passing us with the grisly cargo of charred bodies. More tanks arrive, and we head into battle. It rages all day, and we gain 600 yards before stopping for the night. I receive orders to lead the company to the town of Holzwehr, dig in and hold steady while another unit does the attacking, and we need to be there by dawn. No time for rest. We need to stop moving now. It's still dark when we reach our position and try to dig in, but underneath the snow and ice, the earth is rock hard. We finally give up and just try to keep warm. Dawn breaks, and the other unit has yet to arrive. I contact headquarters. The attack is going to be delayed, but otherwise, no change in orders. I check out the terrain. We're on the edge of the woods, but just beyond are flat open fields. I can see the village clearly, a mile away. On our side, 2 tank destroyers have arrived in the night, parked on a road leading to the village. Across the way, a machine gun squad is set up, but our right flank is exposed. The unit assigned there still hasn't shown up. In the afternoon, 6 German tanks rumble out along with a couple hundred Germans in winter camouflage. "Get ready!" I yell. One of our destroyers moves forward and slides into a ditch. It's stuck and the crew abandons it. I grab a map and get on the field telephone, making them aware of the situation. We can't wait for reinforcements. The fight begins now. I order artillery just as the enemy sends their own. Our machine gun squad is taken out. The second tank destroyer is hit and the crew is forced to abandon. As we start the counterattack, the first of our artillery lands, behind the enemy. I stay on the phone and adjust the coordinates. The tanks are pinning us down with machine gun fire. I have to put them out of commission, or else we're done for. I order the men to pull out. I'll remain behind to keep giving coordinates until we do some damage. Our artillery keeps landing as the men fall back. I grab my carbine and fire at the approaching enemy infantry, now only 200 yards away. I run out of bullets. It's my turn to fall back now, but as I turn to do so, I see it. The burning tank destroyer with a machine gun still on its turret. Looks like it's undamaged, and there's ammunition too. It's a long shot, but I'll have to do what I can. Taking the field telephone with me, I drag myself to the top of the destroyer. A quick check confirms that the machine gun is in working order. Here we go. I give a new set of coordinates over the phone, just as a shell lands near me. I brace myself, reeling from the impact, but maintain my position. I feed a belt into the machine gun, and as the smoke clears, I pull the trigger. Germans scatter, confused where it's coming from, not suspecting that a man would be crazy enough to be firing from a flaming destroyer. I tear through them, bodies falling on top of one another. Our artillery is starting to land on target, and the enemy finally starts to fall back. I keep firing the machine gun until I'm out of ammo. One last barrage from the enemy knocks out my phone line, and that's my cue to leave. I hop off the destroyer, having taken down 50 Germans, and head down the road. My right leg is bleeding. Who knows where that came from, but I pay it no mind. I don't stop walking until I reach my men in the rear. The time to strike back is now. The enemy is scattered and on the run. This is the best chance we've got. I rally my guys and head back to the forest where we're spread out among the trees. And then the shooting starts. There's some crowds behind a small hill that will be tough to get to. I get on my belly and crawl forward, but a shot hits right next to my face that halts me. One of my guys slithers forward, lobs a grenade, and that explosion gives us time to advance. We move to new positions, but the Germans don't expect that. They've been readying for a direct assault and a hand-to-hand fight. And when we see a few helmets rise to meet us, we fire and throw grenades. We charge over the hill. 7 dead Germans lie below us. We keep pushing forward the rest of the day and finally stop at nightfall. I get my leg treated, and that wound earns me a bronze oak leaf cluster for my Purple Heart. It wasn't just the business with the tank destroyer, but getting my men back to fighting that day and advancing our position that gave me the Medal of Honor, the highest U.S. military decoration. But no medal can ever make up for what we lost that day. We went out that morning with 128 men and ended that day with less than 40. I still have a long war after that, but eventually, I'm made a first lieutenant and move away from the front. I get a few days leave, so I take a train to the south of France. I wake up as we pull into a small town. I hear church bells, accordion music, all sorts of noise coming from the village. I open up a window and ask a sergeant on the platform what all the fuss is about. "The Germans surrendered," he says. "The war in Europe is over." I reach my hotel, and while the other soldiers celebrate, I take my first real hot bath in years and try to mentally prepare for the rest of my life. I'll be going home soon, and I'll have to adjust to a life that doesn't require me to sleep among corpses or lob a grenade at every snap of a twig. I'll have to learn to live again, and it'll be my toughest job yet. But I know I can do it, because I am a soldier, the most decorated soldier in the U.S. Army. I'll never give up, because I am Audie Murphy.